Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza podcast, where culture, conversation, and connection meet. He brings a sharp insight, humor, and global perspective to every discussion. Always ready to dig deep and keep it real, Sambaza adds a perfect balance of thought and energy. And welcome, Sambaza.
Hey Jen, what's up? How are you doing today? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, welcome.
Oh, okay. Well, how's it been? Welcome everybody. Whoever's joining us on YouTube, TikTok, Clubhouse, and Facebook, or wherever you listen to our podcast, we want to thank you for coming in today. As I said, you could be somewhere else, but you just decided, hey, you know what? You want to pass through and say hello. We appreciate that. I'm actually coming from Podface. It was really
You are. How did it go?
it was great. I did
Good.
I spoke about the 30-day challenge, um, which was about 30 days. The one that I did 30 days podcasting
Hmm.
for where I featured 30 podcasters from Africa, and
Hmm.
I listened to a podcast every day and blogged about it and did so many things. And it did come out nice, actually. It was great. I'll post it soon. Met some friends, great
Okay.
connection, and they looking forward to more. That's all.
Good. You shared the picture of you on stage, and I shared that out. I was like, oh, look at Simbaza on the stage. So we were super stoked about that. Congrats again. That's awesome.
See, I got the shirt because I did volunteer, so this is pod.
Oh,
That's what it is.
nice. Nice. Well,
Yeah.
good.
So
Glad
how
to
about
hear that it went well.
how about you? How's your
Oh,
weekend?
not too bad. Hanging in. They actually had a jam-packed, fun, exciting MLK day as we talk about MLK for the topic. So, yeah, we did some volunteer projects and experienced some Martin Luther King programs and interacted with the youth, and it was good. So,
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So let's start off with our affirmation of the week. Our affirmation of the week says, I release negative thoughts and welcome positive, uplifting ones. That is
okay.
great. Considering we're going to have a cold storm coming in soon.
Oh
I
my
hope
God.
on Friday, all weekend.
Yeah, the weekend is supposed to be some not nice, so we'll help everybody,
Stay hunkered down.
braves the storm. Definitely. So
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, let's go on to our topic. Now, I actually traveled, even though I went to the Podfest, I did take a detour and went to Africa, where I went to get a Ghana proverb. Now, the
okay.
proverb talks about Ghana. Ghana means warrior king, according to what they say here, honoring the ancient Ghana Empire. Now, this capital of Ghana is named Accra, which translates to ants. The name was gained because there were anthills that used to surround the city. Jen, have you ever seen an anthill? Some can
No,
be
I'm not actually seeing one. No.
some can be close, some can be as high as 6 foot and even go taller than
Oh
that.
wow.
Yeah. A few
Yikes.
facts about Ghana. Gold Coast, that's what it was called because it had an abundance of gold and the legacy of the ancient Ghana Empire. And then they are a cocoa powerhouse. They are the world's second largest producer of cocoa beans, which is a major export. Now, there's a backstory to that. Soccer, well, not soccer, football, if you're referring to Africa, what you call
Right.
soccer is extremely popular over there. So, to the proverb says, even the lion protects himself against flies. Um, how do you translate this proverb?
So, I would say that you want to stay vigilant
Mhm.
because minor things like a fly can become a larger problem if
Mm,
ignored. So,
true. But I can also equate it to a Swahili saying. We say, usipojenga ufa, usipoziba ufa, utajenga ukuta. So which means, that when you see a crack on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't repair the crack on the wall, you're gonna build a whole wall. That's what it
Right.
says. Yeah. So even though a lion is even though are you are strong in a way, and as a human being, some ailments, you might hear a pain here, a pain there, and you say, oh well, I'm not going to bother about it. No, you should be bothered, because a small thing can be something that is gigantic, or
Right.
more, may, may, maybe more hurtful to you in the end if you leave it sitting there for a while. So it would go either way as you look towards um, is health or anything around. Like I said, see a crack in the wall, repair it. Otherwise, you're going to build a
Right.
wall. Yeah. So with
For
that,
sure.
I think let's get ready for the show.
Yes.
My hands.
So pre-introduction. So with it, what we want to do with this episode is talk about how what it means to celebrate MLK Day under our current president Trump's administration, when King's words are widely quoted, yet many of us are experiencing rollbacks of events and policies. So I guess we'll pause there and then we'll go into the full introduction. Initial thoughts on that. MLK Day under Trump.
Well, again, this week we talked about it, but it's really necessary.
Mm-hmm.
This has been some kind of strange feel to it. It's not the same way as it was before. Last year, we were kind of calm, and we were happy to have the Martin Luther King Day coming out. But this year, it's been kind of one of those that has been, can I say, has been eerie, because you don't know what's going on. We have these issues of DEI where people are going, you know, like, somebody just canned their podcast because they had a podcast talking about people who do deal with DEI and what they had done. And when you get things like those happening on podcasts, now let's put it to real life or corporate,
Right.
things are changing. Um, and I think there has been a couple of changes, even in my employment side. There have been some changes. So you just have to be, it's like you have to be careful when now being black. It's like you have to be careful, because whatever you say, or if you throw anything that has to deal with DI or MLK or being black as you are, it brings a sense of like you have to cower to some type of degree. um
Mm-hmm.
I said some, and here's where I put my disclaimer. My opinions are mine, and they're not representative of my company or anybody else out there. It's just me expressing myself. So we just got to get that out of the way. And yeah, that's how I feel about this situation.
Okay, put a pin there because you'll share more shortly. So we'll give you the full introduction at this point. Well, every January, this country pauses, at least on paper, to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yet, in Trump's America, the question is not whether we have a holiday, but what that holiday actually means in the climate of these backlash and rollbacks. So we're seeing a lot of rollbacks. The day off is still here, but the dream behind it, the full voting rights, economic justice, and end to racism, militarism, often feels under attack, ignored, or reduced. So what we want to do is look at, what does it look like to honor Dr. King when the leaders quote him while supporting policies that deepen inequality and division? How do we respond when the holidays remains on the calendar, but the justice work he died doing is undermined in law, policy, and public discourse? There's that word policy, which is one of your things that that resonates with you. So I'm glad you're in this conversation. And more importantly, how can communities, creators, and everyday people make MLK Day one that you cannot cancel, not because the president or institution allows it, but because we live the dream in our streets, our classrooms, organizing spaces, and relationships all year long. So, yeah, that is what we will take on to acknowledge the legacy of Dr. King.
Yeah, and when when we talked about the current situation, when I was talking about the current situation, um, sorry about that. Um, when I'm talking about the current situation, and we are talking about the President Donald Trump, he issued a proclamation for Martin Luther King Day, and this past Monday. The key themes, I'm going to read it out. He described Dr. King as a transformative figure whose leadership helped move the nation towards full realization of the American promise. Um, he also referenced the administration referenced the decision to declassify documents related to Dr. King's 1968 assassination, presenting it as a move to provide long awaited transparency for the King family and the public. The proclamation also encouraged people to recommit themselves to Dr. King's dream by engaging in acts of service to others, to their community, and to our nation. So the problem here is that civil rights groups have criticized this proclamation, or criticized Trump for
Mhm.
this due to his perceived delay of the official recognition. Now, critics and media outlets noted that the proclamation was released late in the evening, around 6 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be about 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, on the holiday media about other topics like unlike other topics, like border enforcement and election integrity, which we talked about last week about, ICE and what have you.
Mhm.
Want to check out that show? Really great when we spoke about how things are and how we would like them to be. So tensions were already high because Martin Luther King Day and Juneteenth were removed from the list of fee-free days at national parks, but Trump's birthday on June 14th, which is also Flag Day, was added as a new free admission day. Oh wow! But however, our Governor Newsom of California opened more than 200 California state parks for free to honor Dr. King while calling out Trump's move. Yeah, this
Right.
had been coming out, and it was kind of crazy because I think when you do that and say you don't want people to go into parks for free, and yet everyone at that time is is actually free. Well, free. Well, they're out. They're off from work. They're actually
Right.
hanging out
It
with
would be
family.
an opportunity where they could utilize or take benefit of that,
Right.
feature or yeah. So it's almost like he's trying to send a clear message by taking this one away and putting this one in, intentionally to send a message. So like that kind of is, ill received or ill gotten, It
Right.
feels
And
that way.
I think even in your neck of the woods, St. Louis, Missouri, a community STEM showcase at the St. Louis Science Center was canceled after it
Mhm.
being held for many years. Now, I don't understand why
Yeah.
that was canceled.
Right. I mean, we talked about it possibly could be funding, but I mean, were like planning for it. Like they were almost prepared to do it, and then it was yanked. You know,
But here's what I look at it in this perspective, right? Um, just humor me with this. So you block all places to go that was supposed to be free, which talked about American history, American stuff, and all these things that would talk about America, right? But
mhm,
now we've switched that people would now look around for other places to go to. This is a time where people should be looking at African American spots where they can be able to go and visit those museums.
right.
So you spend your dollars appropriately on the African American museums. That's where your money goes to. Okay, you look for other places where they have monuments of that would celebrate being, African American. Black girl magic, stuff like that needs to be celebrated on that particular day. If I cannot go into the museum, well, hey, find somewhere else. Which I think for everything you lose, there's always something you gain. So I
True.
think at this point in time, they will lose visitors going to the museum, the state parks, and what have you. But you'll have people going around and visiting other places. That, to me, I'd look at the positive and say, you know what, probably serves them right for doing that. But you're moving other people to other places. There's
True.
always something
And
that.
yeah, and part of what we're going to cover is, ways people can acknowledge and celebrate the holiday. A lot of times there's a long list of things in your everybody's community um, that you can do, to that is free. A lot of things, here in your city, I'm sure you can, look at the uh, Black Greek letter organizations like Alpha Kappa Alpha. We
Mhm.
had a lot of service projects throughout the metropolitan area that people could sign up for, not just to work as a volunteer, but just to come and enjoy the program, participate, and other organizations too. And I actually got to participate in two projects and programs, and sit back and, experience the program. It was free. They had refreshments, and usually they do similar things like that. In our downtown St. Louis, we have a big Martin Luther King walk. I saw a post online that other cities do that too. Like I think in Memphis, we do like a march like that too. And then, there's speeches and there's breakfasts. There's all kind of events that you can go to for free. But yeah.
Yeah, and with our, I think, the Dallas Fort Worth area, they
Mhm.
had a march. The high school team, I think, one of the high school teams won the championship. So their parade was done, I think, on Martin Luther King Day, if not the weekend the weekend of.
Mhm.
So it's either weekend off or, and then one of the things I've noticed is that instead of having everything happening at the same time, different cities will pick up the dates. So they'll do a week before, and then the next week, so the weekends will spread so that people can go
Oh.
and visit other cities.
Mhm.
They have adopted the same thing like Christmas, like the Christmas lighting ceremonies. They all
Mhm.
have them in different days so that people can, if you move around DFW, if you look at it, it's a huge city, but you can drive through. So if you're
Okay.
wanting to hang out somewhere, you just go and hang out there, and then one next day you could move to another city, and then another one. So you can experience three celebrations, if I may
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
And also, Jen, you see what I was saying? They cut off this part. Now we're able to visit three places. We can go sit down and enjoy it with other different people, make different friends.
Right.
Just like that. Man, there's so many positives on this one. I'm thinking we're winning. We're winning. We're winning on this one.
Okay. And then, so
Yeah.
in light of all of these actions, it makes one wonder, does Trump want to, get rid of MLK Day? Your thoughts on that?
I don't think he's going to be able to do that. That needs an act of
Okay.
Congress,
Yeah.
and I think if if they're gonna go by what is happening right now, and I'm gonna touch a little bit on the politics. Um, there's always a consensus that there's a level of understanding that we don't want to go back to where we were back in the day, and
Mhm.
people are the influential people in the background that um, can be hurt,
Mhm.
and also you remember that blackouts, the African Americans, when they have the blackout day, when they did out the Target, the
Yeah.
black Target for a while.
Mhm.
So when they're making these decisions, they go sit down and somebody comes up and gives them a call and tells them, "Remember what happened to Target when the black people decided to give it a blackout?" Now imagine if they decide to give him a blackout and only order on specific options and maybe do specific things for specific people. What would
Right.
that entail? So they still they might still try, but it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the Target boycott alone showed how powerful our dollars are, and have always been. I mean, even if you want to take it back to civil rights movement, Martin Luther King's era, the when black people stopped riding the bus, it hurt. It hurt them as much as they wanted to, make it painful, and the way we were treated, we should have been giving them our money anyway. But it did hurt. And they eventually had to, make a change because even back then, our black dollars were powerful. You know what I mean? So that's deep. But
Yeah,
yeah,
just the boycott for the buses. That
yeah,
I mean, you can imagine if you boycott for a week and the bus is not running. That's a revenue that has been lost. And I think Rosa Parks was the symbol. Even though they say Rosa Parks was a symbol, there was another lady. I think she was 16 years old at that time when Rosa Parks was doing that. Jen, you have some information about her because I think I told you about she died. Is it Moss or
just
Love?
recently, last name is Coven, Claudette Coven.
Yeah, she passed on last week.
Yes.
Yeah, and she was one of the people who refused to give up her seat. But it so happened, sometimes things, you know. But that we just let you know on that part. Just pin that. We're gonna talk about it more
Well, yeah, yeah,
next
definitely. For Black
next month.
History Month, we
Yeah,
definitely want
yeah.
to dig deeper into that. But it was like what 9 months before the Rosa Parks incident, and still, impactful, both impactful moments
Mhm,
in the civil rights movement for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, we definitely wanted to mention Claudette Colvin, since we're definitely talking about the bus boycott during the civil rights movement.
I wonder why nobody in the rap song put her on their lyrics. Maybe
Well,
they did. Check out, find out.
that's a
'Cause
thought.
yeah, because I mean, Rosa Parks got a verse. I don't know why Claudette never got a verse. Where are all these rappers? Don't they do some research or something like that? Coven can come in as a nice rap. You can put it in with something. Coven got woven.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. I don't know about that one. Okay. Don't quit your day job, buddy.
I'm not rapping. I'm just saying, lyrically, Coven rhymes with woven.
That's a thought for sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so where are we?
I threw you off. Come on now. Hey,
I know I was looking up the information.
my rapping throws you off.
No, no. Never that. But no, so we want to move into this part of the discussion about King's legacy, and I think you were going to touch
Oh,
on that.
about the king's legacy. Well, the philosophy was passive resistance, and I think between him and when you look at him and Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan and that time, they had different ideologies, and there was also the Black Panther that movement as well around that time. Um, Even though he was more with like his his powerful moments or everything that he was doing, even like when I have a dream, it was all through confronting injustice through love, civil disobedience, boycotts or sit-ins or marches. Even though sit-ins or marches are usually end up violent, even well, boycotts are different, but sit-ins and marches are usually, the Selma, the Walk of Selma, that one was also a problem. But his was more different. He was more like it was passive aggressive. Never wanted to be militant, as opposed to the others who took a harder stance, like
Right.
Malcolm X said. Malcolm X was like, "Look, we need to be separated. There's nothing like whatever, whatever." So in much as we talk about these these movements, I think his was special because remember, even when he said, "I have a dream is never, it's not a bad dream." He had a good dream. Um, uh, you know, he I think he loved the fact that things can be conquered in a positive way, which was inspired by Gandhi and Turu.
Mhm.
I don't know who Turu is, but I know who Gandhi is. Jen, who's Turu? I'm gonna ask you about that. Who's Turu? Thoreau.
Um, Let me share this before I lose my thought.
Wait,
Um,
man, I know Gandhi. Gandhi's the one who did that. Oh, by the way, gotta give a shout out. Somebody's coming through here.
mhm.
About the wallet, about that wallet. I'm not gonna
Oh,
name names and put him on blast, but yeah. Good evening there, Anthony Weaver. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. We had a great time with him at the Podfest.
good.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing marvelous things. This guy is going places. He's going
Absolutely. Shout out to Anthony Weaver.
right.
Now, Henry David Thoreau, you did ask who Thoreau is, was a lifelong abolitionist. Okay, he was a white man. Okay, but he was an abolitionist, delivering lectures that attacked slave law. Okay, and so he defended abolitionist John Brown.
Hmm.
So he was a poet, a philosopher, but yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Mhm.
I don't know about that, but hey, um, it's nice to now add one person onto the list of people that I need to go look at right now. Chat GPT. But anyway, here are the key principles of the nonviolent resistance. Let me go ahead.
Oh,
Look
yeah. Okay,
here.
I remember I
Start
was
with
going.
active confrontation. It's forceful, strategic, and collective force to challenge power structures, not a passive acceptance of oppression. Love and reconciliation. The goal was to defeat the evil system, not people get caught within it, fostering understanding and creating a beloved community. Civil disobedience in involving breaking unjust laws like segregation, but accepting the legal penalties to highlight injustice. Spiritual strength. It required internal discipline to purify oneself of hatred and anger, turning the other cheek without striking back. Redemptive suffering. Willingness to accept suffering like beatings without retaliation was seen as redemptive, educating, and transforming both the oppressed and the oppressed. I don't think that's right.
What's
See,
that?
that redemptive suffering, I don't think that's right.
Personally, you don't feel that it's right, or
Because when you look at it, why are we accepting willingness to accept suffering? Why should you suffer? I mean,
well, yeah.
I'm gonna say that I don't think that's right. We should not allow ourselves to suffer because I think if you're right, you're right, right? But this saying that you're gonna agree to suffering, so somebody beats you, so he has the pleasure of beating you, and you take the beating. So now you become, oh hell, nah, nah.
No, I get it. I get it. I get it. But what I wanted to share, because before I forget, last year
Mm,
we had, oh God, it might have been 2024. Actually, I think it was 2024. Me and my sister, we have a Girl Scout troop, and we actually got to take a trip to Memphis
mhm,
to see the Civil Rights Museum and the Lorraine
mhm.
Motel where Martin Luther King, stayed. Um,
Spent his last time on earth.
he did, and then, but in the museum, it was so cool. I made a really cool reel about it, just kind of capturing a lot of the moments in it, and it had like the sit-in. You mentioned the sit-ins, and that it could be potentially violent, but it was so necessary, and they actually trained. I want to say the Urban League back then trained Black people how to behave and respond. So it was very organized and intentional. And I think that's why it was, so powerful during that time. We are going to sit at this counter. and people would try to pour milkshakes on you and spit at you, and then you're just unmoved and unbothered. And that takes training and a certain temperament, but it's powerful too. So I mean, everything Martin Luther King, it was very intentional, and it was very inspiring, and just sharing that and they actually had like a real demonstration, like a full counter of like a life-size person sitting there, and they had like the audio of people yelling at even the museum is amazing. But yeah, it just kind of was deep, like we really experienced this, but it was powerful too. Yeah.
Would that happen now?
What's that?
Would that be possible right now in this
It's,
current day? Because the way I'm seeing, like right now, when I watch the news and watch the way people are doing the
mhm.
civil disobedience, even though they're Caucasian, I think we've moved past that, and the technology and the way things are and how people behave, I think the emotional intelligence is different to where we understand what is what needs to be done and what has been done, to the point that I don't think they can sit and you porn people. That's disrespect. That's dehumanizing you.
It is.
I think that's the point where I think that's the part where I'm fighting against. Don't dehumanize me. You, I'd rather you take me, cuff me, take me, put me to jail, right? But don't pour stuff on me, spit on me, and tell me that in itself, you've gone through the realm of dehumanizing somebody.
Oh,
It's
I
the
get
same.
it.
Yeah. So I
But
don't know.
I mean, you as an activist yourself, participated in a peaceful protest not that long ago. And you definitely went into that with the mindset of like, I'm not going in here to, be violent or cause, but I want to make my point. I want to, you know, support this cause and things like that. So I think that mindset is the same.
Yeah, mindset is the same. I think I'll take all the others, but the last one about redemptive suffering, I think that one I'll strike off that one. If you tell me
Okay.
that, if they told me that, I'll be like, nah, bruh, nah, I ain't signed up for this one. I'm gone. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, fair enough on that. The other thing I had put on the outline for us to cover, we was kind of covered it with what we're talking about now, is that these two versions of Dr. King that are discussed, the safe king and then the dangerous king, or the rebellious one. And I think some of our podcast friends have talked about Martin Luther King, who talked about Black history.
Mhm.
um Talked about how toward the end of Dr. King's life, his message got sharper and the focus kind of shifted. And people always talk about the I have a dream and that kind of thing, but toward the end of his life, he was working with the night before, he was in Memphis for the sanitation protests, which in that museum they have a really cool display, I guess, with the I am a man signs, like on my reel, I'm like holding up one of the signs. It's really cool. But it's, deep that we went through this. And oh, the Poor People's Campaign, shifting the focus to economic justice and, the living wages of people, which included, non-Black people in that effort. So that's interesting. I mean, we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on that, but
And one thing I also like people to note that this campaign, eh, and that's the beauty of it. All right, doesn't matter what people say that, oh, it was all a black thing. No, it was not a black thing. We also had Caucasian people, white
yeah,
people who are in it to help out, just like the way on that uh, like if you look at it right now, let's go down history, right? I'm just gonna go down this rabbit hole in a little bit. Back in the day when was it that train, the slave train, what do they call it, the underground railway, the underground railway, white people are still involved in that, right? Bring it down to just now here in Texas, when people cross cross the border. There
Mm-hmm.
are actually people who cross in white people's farms, and they would leave packets, not packets, but water, jugs of water, you know, that's laying around, so that at least if they're passing through, you just get some water and you live,
Mm-hmm.
go wherever you're going. And, you know, humanity right now, as we speak, this one for illegal immigrants, what ICE is doing right now, there's still white people who are actually looking out for their neighbors who are
Mm-hmm.
scared of getting out. I mean, I listen to NPR as always. There
Mm-hmm.
was a 65-year-old guy outside his house saying that, you know what, I'm going to sit out here and look for any vehicle that looks weird, and I'll blow my whistle, even though it's cold outside. He's 65 years old, and he's
Mm-hmm.
putting himself out there because of other people. This is humanity. Humanity does not, at some point, humanity does not care whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever, African, whatever it is. There's that bottom line where you get to, and it's all equal, where everyone is helping everyone out. So I think, um, when we look at Martin Luther King, what he went through, and what we're all going through, we just look at how, I'm going to say, we look at it from then on. It set a footprint. Maybe people realize it, and when you go to such museums, it makes you realize that it's a collective. It's not one person. It's
Mm-hmm.
not two people. No, it's a whole collective, a whole community that makes everything possible. That's what I wanted to throw in.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. And then our call to action. If MLK, because we're talking about the rollbacks and all the changes in Trump's America. If MLK Day disappeared from the federal calendar, what would you do to keep doing or acknowledging it anyway?
Okay, since it's on a Monday and they've taken it out, and like they said, it's not gonna. If they take it out and say, "Hey, this is not gonna be part of something that we're celebrating," I think that weekend would be made special.
Yeah.
I think the Saturday and Sunday they would line it up and make sure it's going to be celebrated, just like the way we have the King's protest. You don't need a public holiday on a Monday or something like that to make it work. You can decide to make it work, starting from your community and take it all the way up. May not like it, but you know what? It's organization. Like I said, it's all about the community.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, that's a special week anyway. His actual birthday on January 15th is a very special day
Oh,
anyway, to many. So, yeah, we would just start from the 15th on. And, that's the founding of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So we would just,
what sorority are you talking about? This one, the sorority you're talking about? You just passed that through. What is it that you're talking about?
my sorority,
Is
which is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
that the ones that wear pink? Don't know.
Pink and green.
Okay, the
Yes.
one with the pink and green. Okay, the one Kamala Harris is part of.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All
And
right.
Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther
Oh,
King,
yeah.
right? Absolutely, and he was in our brother for fraternity Alpha Phi Alpha.
Okay. So what do you guys do with regard to Martin Luther King Day?
So yeah, like I mentioned, we have an international initiative where we, do service projects all across the country. We're an international sorority, so everywhere we are, we have MLK Day of service projects, and we actually have like a sign up genius in my town. In the St. Louis metropolitan area, which is St. Louis and Illinois, is metropolitan, and we had different service projects that people could sign up and attend, or the community open to the community could come in. Students need volunteer hours. It's just open to the public, and everything from, we had one project where we were making no sew blankets for the homeless, um, and a lot of the young people got involved with that one. I mean, there's people at soup kitchens. There were, people with clothing banks and, donating used clothes. So, I mean, just so many different things. It's really neat to see it happen all over. There's economic empowerment fairs where business people get to set up shop and people can come shop a small business to acknowledge. So many different ways to acknowledge and celebrate. Like I said, these things don't cost. You may not be able to go to the national park for free, thanks to our dear president. But there's several different ways you can celebrate MLK Day in your town.
Okay. A
Yeah,
quick question. You said AKA is international. Which other
it
countries have they go?
is.
Where?
Yeah. Oh my God. We recently had AKA chapters in Dubai. They're in Africa. We're all over, honey. We're all over. International.
Okay, this is the first time I've heard of them being international.
Absolutely. Look it
You're keeping
up.
up with me.
Google it. Google it. Google it. Yeah.
I haven't heard. No, 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 no. I'm just saying because you know, coming from
No,
where I'm
for,
from,
no, for real
um,
though. For real. We're in Dubai and we're in Africa. Yeah, for sure.
and I only started knowing about that maybe like about 5 years ago. I think there was
Mhm.
a time. Okay, the reason why I got it got so prominent was because they believed at some point there was a stalker. Somebody was hunting AKAs in Dallas,
Mm.
allegedly. So yeah, there was a manhunt. So all the people who used to wear AKAs were told at some point to stop showing up with those colors because there was something going on about that. Before we go to I have a question. Before we go to the next part, I want to say, Anthony said, Jen, we missed you at the conference. You see, he told you that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you were missing. You need to show up there. It's really great. It's a great event. Okay, so now let's go back to your childhood. Just tell us about how you used to celebrate MLK Day. How was it done?
Yeah, and we always had like MLK programs in school, like all the way up through elementary school. So that was something to look forward to. It was like a program in the evening where people would sing and read poems and give speeches. And it's also special to me because when was in college, I won a MLK, what was it, essay contest. So, and I got a scholarship for winning. So that was really neat. MLK is one of my favorite civil rights people because of that. And, just the things that he was able to accomplish at the age, graduating college at 15, like, who does that? You know what I mean? Like all of these things, and wasn't even 40 years old, and just all these different things he accomplished is just really impactful. And a lot of people like to bring up negative things or things that imperfect.
I have to ask you a question about. Well, he's
Yeah,
human. He's got to be
for
imperfect.
sure.
Do you think we should have somebody celebrated, like for example, what's his name, Malcolm X?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean the things that he accomplished were, just as impactful. And his story is, whether you read the book or you saw the movie, I mean, just his story of how starting as Detroit Red, and you just making the change, converting to Islam and all the things, in both MLK and Malcolm X, experience, betrayal with their own organizations, and, just being pursued by the FBI in that way, where it's just really kind of, disheartening how they pursued both of them like that. But don't get me don't get me started on the FBI. Okay. So yeah.
And so, do you think that maybe they should have a date specifically, not for, well, MLK is different in his own way, but to have all of them combined where we have like a celebration of each one of them that put in the work through civil rights, whichever way they had contributed.
I mean, you mean a federal holiday like
No,
MLK Day or
no,
just
just a regular day because we have Juneteenth. Juneteenth was, it's
Mhm.
for us in the South. Y'all had it.
Right.
Y'all.
And, it's just like
A
when we
horse.
had our
Somebody said, I remember that joke. The horse came late. By the time it got to Texas, we started from Virginia. They were already free. By the time
mm,
the horse was showing up in Texas, man, these boys were like, "What? They're already free?" That was a joke. The first time I heard about Juneteenth, that's how they was. We
okay.
were sitting down, black men. But the South has Juneteenth. What do we have for everyone that participated in the
Mhm.
civil rights movement that we can say, you know what, this is a day for everyone? Like we
I
have.
mean, I would just say Black History Month is a time that we can reflect on all of the people that, were impactful. But I mean, really, Black history is 365, or it should be. And it doesn't just have to be the month of February, even though, we do reflect. Um,
No. I think that's a cop out. When people use that word, I think I'm going to take it back. When somebody said, "No, you got to stop,"
Cop out.
stop. This thing about black history is 365. Yes, it's 365. I live black. I'm black. I don't. It doesn't matter where. Every single day I work, I'm black. Yes, it is there 365. However, everybody needs to be celebrated at some point, like your birthday. You get celebrated that one particular day is like your day. You get celebrated.
Okay.
How about one day where we take all these people? Because when you look at Black History Month, what are we going to celebrate? We're going to celebrate all designers, black singers, black poets, black educators, black scientists, uh, black entrepreneurs. We're going to go to black. So it's everybody black. Yes, spread it out the whole year. It's 365. Yes, I agree. That's 365. We cannot concentrate and say that. No, 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 no. Yes, but one particular day, just look at the power of the civil rights that
Hmm.
we have put into play that has become monumental to give us what we have right now. So
For
we say,
sure.
okay, we're going to celebrate blah 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 blah. Even if it's an hour a day, we say today, right now, this hour is going to be for Malcolm X. This hour is going to be for Martin Luther King. This hour is
Mhm.
going to be for so on. So somebody like that, you spread it all out, but it's on that particular day. You say like, this is it. So even though it's 365, we come and go through all of them on that particular day and have
Okay.
them celebrated. You see what
Yeah.
I'm Yeah, like a hero's day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't see a problem with that.
Start a petition, Jen. Start a petition. Put it out there. Go to your local city council. Put a petition.
Yeah, we have to work on that. So might have to
But it's
massage it a
possible.
little bit, but yeah.
It's very possible, and I think we should, because having to put all of them in 31 days. I mean, how many 31 days? And people say, "Oh, today we're going to talk about what
Well,
so what."
February is the shortest.
Again, yes, 28 days. So today we're going to talk about blah blah. So we only have 28 of them to put. You know.
Yeah,
So I mean, ah,
right.
let's be
Yeah,
nice.
but I
Let's be
mean,
nice more. Give them all one day and say this is for everybody.
that's a thought. That's a thought.
You know what? When we talk about, like now, Black History Month, right? We
Mhm.
can only talk about Black history. Leave that Black history. February, March. Let's talk about the now, like the civil rights. April. Let's focus on Black business entrepreneurs. May, have a calendar like that we talk about 12 months.
What is March is what Women's International Women's
Remember, women's, it doesn't say black women, women's.
but we could amplify the black women,
Sure, sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And then we talk positive stuff. So I think if we did that in a monthly basis and put it for 12 months, I think that will be now the 365.
Okay.
Like No Shave November for men. They
Okay.
decide No Shave November.
Oh,
Oh
we
yeah.
have a comment.
Oh, conversation. Nicole Everett is here saying March. Oh, so March is Women's History Month. Okay, I don't know that,
Correct.
Nicole. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, Nicole is my buddy. I met at the, oh, she's greeting somebody. Yes, I met her at the Podfest. It was the first time, and she
Yeah.
enjoyed it. She loved it, and hey, she's gonna be back there next year. And pretty cool people. You guys, you need to go check her out. It's Conversations with Nicole. Oh, right there. You can see it. Conversations with
Conversations
Nicole.
with Nicole.
That's, yeah,
Okay.
on YouTube. She has Mondays, Wednesdays, and I don't know what the third day is, but yeah. Great to meet her and glad to be here. And as yeah, Anthony says Nicole made it here too. Yes, she did, and
Good. Well,
it's nice to hang out with.
nice.
I hung out with them the weekend. See, like I said, Nicole is
Oh,
cool.
wait, he
Goes
made it.
live Mondays and Wednesdays on Thursday. Oh, okay. I'm a podcast cousin. Yes, I am a podcast cousin. Thank you. So
Mondays and
Mondays and
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays,
Good.
8 p.m. That's when she goes.
Okay. Cool.
But I think this is Eastern time because I caught her show today just before we started ours.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. But this is we have to put throw it in 8:30 Eastern time. See, there you
It
go.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
that's how I caught it. Yeah, okay. So this is how we catch on our friends, and you're all welcome to catch us on Wednesdays at 8 Central Standard Time, unless something has happened on the background.
Yeah, every once in a while we like we were what Tuesday last time because you were heading to Podfest. And our good friend Denise is a part of a live that goes on Wednesday. So I was able to catch that. Boy, they
Oh,
was off the chain over there, but we'll talk about that later on Facebook. I was like, oh my, okay, this is spicy. What am I? But anyway, shout out to Denise and those guys. Dang, what is I forgot what this called, but
and
you know
Anthony's is tomorrow. Has his live tomorrow. I
he
think
does.
Thursday.
He
Okay,
does.
so great.
Yeah, we try to support everybody.
So Nicole has already told me. So when we do our March segments, we should remember that March is for Black.
We know that because we've covered
No,
that. Like when we
no,
had
no,
Cindy, that was in
we were doing
March.
health. We were doing health. We're not doing about. This
Uh,
one we
that
had.
might have been the other year.
Mm,
Oh wait, we have another comment.
okay, so he says his live is tomorrow with a special guest of talking about cybersecurity. I think I'll jump onto that
Mm,
because it's interesting. Cybersecurity sandwich generation. Okay, I think I'll join that because it's very, very interesting. I'm into cybersecurity. So,
definitely.
all right, Jen, what's the takeaway for today that we have found out regarding, or we can sum up today for the people who have listened, people who are going to watch? What can we sum up?
Yeah, I mean, even though we are living in Trump's America, we still can honor Dr. King. We learned that, um, MLK Day can be a brand, a long weekend, or a real threat to injustice. The difference is not what's printed on the calendar, but it's how what we decide to do with it. So, we encourage people to get involved in their communities and find a free event or service project that they could participate in, and yeah, and keep it alive.
I think that's this. I would go with that. I try to make sure my kids are aware of Martin Luther King and what he represents and everything, about his legacy. Uh, but what we don't realize is that every day we teach those facets of living to our kids
Mhm.
just by listening to it. Just even though it's just like you said, it's one day. What we hear from him, and maybe when you send your kids to go listen to the speeches that kids make or write essays, those things are living proof of what he stood for, and kind of like go throughout the year when things happen. When you look at the wrongdoings on earth
Mhm.
keep happening, you still go by his legacy, and his name gets repeated so many times and is used as references. um, some people may try to use his reference as part of a standard, but the standard will never get to that. His standard is up there. Some people have tried to make variations of or comparisons to him, but I think, uh, to me, I'll say recently some comparisons were made that you'd be like, I'm not gonna name any names, but you all know what I'm talking about. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, he's a legacy on his own, and what he's built in right now is gonna live for centuries to come.
For sure. No, definitely. For real. All right. Any other thoughts, Sambaza?
No, I'm ready to go. Like I said, I enjoyed myself. Can I tell you a joke?
No, no.
It's, it's a funny one. So, I met this retired football player from Miami Dolphins, right? So on the last day, we were hanging out. We meet again. We were hanging out. Then he calls another Asian lady, and this lady's like, "Oh, hey, my friend, how you doing?" I'm like, "Cool." Then I didn't get why they were saying my friend, but now she explained. So remember, he was wearing the green jacket, and he had the Dolphins mark on it. So when the lady saw her at the expo, the parfait, she was like, "Hey, you work at SeaWorld?" He was like, "What do you mean I work at SeaWorld?" "Yeah, you have a green jacket and you have a dolphin, whatever." And everyone burst out laughing around her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she threw out the immigrant card. And that's what she said. I threw my immigrant card in there and I was like, yeah.
Where was she from?
Huh? She was from India.
Oh, but he
Yeah.
was actually an NFL player, huh?
Yeah, he was an NFL. He had the green jacket for the
Right.
Miami Dolphins. Yeah,
Yeah.
but when she saw the Dolphins, she thought he
What
was
was his
from
name?
SeaWorld. Huh? I forgot.
What? Oh, what? How you gonna forget the guy's name?
Oh, no, no, he's not like late. He's an older guy.
No, but yeah, like he paid in the past, right?
Mm-hmm,
Huh?
mm-hmm. He
That's
played in the
cool.
'90s. He played in the '90s.
Okay.
Yeah. So Nicole,
Like,
yeah, Nicole was there. She figured it out.
okay, I was like, is this
No, he made some expressions. I can't make those expressions right now because we're on whatever. But
okay?
all right, now, Jen, what I'm gonna say is take us home, take us home, take us home.
Well,
Woo.
we thank you all for joining us, especially on the different platforms. We appreciate you all for tapping in with us there. We hope that you found today's conversation inspiring and enlightening. If you found the episode meaningful, please consider sharing it with friends and family or your colleagues. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. We invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content, especially next week. We'll have a special guest. And we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. So, with that, we
Wait,
thank you all.
when are we having the guest? Are we having on Wednesday or on Tuesday?
Wednesday?
It's gonna be Wednesday. Okay,
Yeah, the 28th.
okay, great. So 28th Wednesday. You gotta watch out. This is gonna be special, actually. Yep, you need to be there.
Yeah, please join us. We really appreciate you guys for being here and tapping in and come back and see us. With that, we will
Good
tell
night.
everybody good night and
Thank you all
take
for joining.
care.